DIY leather cleaners is a topic I love, as it's both creative and very impactful for leather care to understand more about it. In general, what's the best DIY leather cleaner? The one you get yourself from a store. And there's a reason why. We'll explain. But wait, says the person who wants to do everything on their own. Yes, some can definitely be made at home with proper planning, testing, time, and expense. It's absolutely possible, and sometimes better, though not recommended for the average person looking for a quick fix cleaner. And we're going to show you exactly why now. Leather cleaners comprise an array of soaps, solvents, chemical agents, and organic compounds sometimes used for over hundreds of years. Often, someone wants to use something they already have at home rather than buy a specialized product from a store. Or they want a more natural alternative to the chemical-based cleaners that are available. These are definitely great ideas, and in the creative and crafting spirit, usually an excellent way to go. And here's where that runs into a practical limit. Most household items, and we'll go through several in a moment, are too concentrated for, too harsh, and or have synthetic components that can actually damage the leather long term. Most commercial leather cleaners have what's called a carrier, a liquid or oil which carries a leather cleaner to deeply penetrate the leather fibers. If we look, any cleaner that we use is going to penetrate into these fibers and then try to pull dirt and grime out. And a carrier is what's used to do that. The carrier brings in those astringents which are going to help cling to the dirt and then pull that out. A good cleaner needs the right blend of the carrier and each cleaning agent in just the right amounts to be light enough to get into these fibers, remove dirt, and then get out without sticking around. This combination takes some practice to get right and usually involves ingredients most people wouldn't currently have at home, or combining them in such a way that is often difficult or impossible to do in most homes. So it's not that the concept is bad, it's just that getting the right mix and the right proportions and even the right distillates sometimes is what's tricky for most of us. So using something at home as easy as a Windex or a vinegar, while convenient, could actually damage the leather long term. And here's the cool part. Several of the most popular natural leather cleaners on the market today were invented at home. Someone wanted something more natural or more effective than chemical-based cleaners, so decades ago, they began to research and develop their own formula, resulting in some really top-notch products. So yes, DIY leather cleaners are possible, and with the right research, time, equipment, and money, it might become the next popular commercial cleaner too. So the potential is there, we're just giving you context. Let's look now at some commonly suggested DIY leather cleaners that can damage the fibers. Along with that, I'm going to include this pH chart. And pH essentially refers to the potential of hydrogen between two substances. What does that mean? Essentially, when we combine two together, if they're higher and lower, they're going to neutralize and meet in the middle. And doing that, it's going to be a process that often is going to release salt and water into your leather fibers. So the closer they are together to begin, the less likely that is to happen. There's also a neutral number, which is 7. Natural leather is around 4.5 to 5. So if you're around that number or around 7, it's going to be a lot better than being too acidic, which is towards 1, or too basic, which is towards 14. So even if that doesn't make sense yet, you'll pick up the context as we go. First up, we have is vinegar. And vinegar is around a 2 to 3 on the pH scale, which is going to be lower than leather. And that difference, as well as the harshness of the acidity of vinegar, can lead to some long-term damage of those fibers. Acetone. This is about a 7 on the pH scale, which is a good neutral. However, it is a very strong solvent. So the strength of that solvent can change color, move around some of those tanning agents that are in there, and even weaken those leather fibers over time. Rubbing alcohol. This is around a 6 to 8 in terms of pH. And it can also dry out the leather a lot. When this evaporates, it pulls moisture away from whatever it is on, and that, in this case, is going to be the leather. That can weaken the fibers over time as well, and not be as desirable as a gentler cleaner. Dish and hand soap. This can range between 7 and 10 in pH, negatively affecting the fibers in some cases, and also many soaps include a lot of additional synthetic additives. And there's really no reason to add those into the leather, especially when you're trying to clean it and take things out. Shampoo can range in 3.5 to 9, and those pH differences can have an impact. As well, many shampoos include additional additives, colorants, and all kinds of compounds that really aren't necessary for cleaning leather. Baking soda has a pH of around 9, and that difference can negatively affect and weaken the fibers. Kind of think about the extreme reaction of baking soda and vinegar. What happens? A mini version of that can happen inside the fibers, even though it isn't totally visible. Lemon juice has a pH of around 2 to 3, so it's definitely acidic, and that acid element of it can affect and weaken the fibers over time. Hard water. So depending on your water source, maybe it's a local well, maybe it is rainwater gathered, from a rain gutter, or maybe it is city processed water, or anything in between. Having any extra minerals inside can cause buildup within the leather fibers themselves, leading to earlier weakening and damage. So it's really more a sense of being aware of what type of water you're using for cleaning leather. The ideal case is a distilled water, which has had most of those minerals and impurities removed. Toothpaste. This has a lot of component substances that could get absorbed into and remain in the leather long term. So it's best to kind of stray away from something like this, even though it may have baking soda or other things that seem good. When combined with everything else, it may not be the best choice. Cream of tartar. This is really acidic in pH and can hurt those fibers over time. A hairdryer with heat. Someone might be using a hairdryer to dry a piece of leather that they just cleaned or otherwise help soften it up, and this could be really rough on those fibers, expanding them and weakening them over time. A washing machine. This could be really rough on the leather itself. It's going to get banged around and tossed around a lot, and there's likely going to be a lot of water in there, more than what is necessary for general cleaning. Bleach. Bleach can be really harsh and could lead to permanent fiber damage as well as color changing as well, given that it is bleach. Castile soap. This is a vegetable oil-based soap that in that form could actually lead to some potential rotting or breakdown of the fibers over time, and other impacts depending upon what else is in the soap. Saddle soap. This could actually oxidize leather over time, and over time means, years, decades, even longer. So depending on if you're using something for the near term or it's functional, this can be an amazing option to get that work done and keep it in good working shape. If you've got something that's more of an archival piece or something you want for decades or longer, this may not be an excellent choice for that particular application. Also, many saddle soaps include petroleum-based ingredients, so make sure you read what is in your particular soap to know exactly what you're getting. The magic eraser. So this could literally sand away the leather surface. The composition of this is intended to do just that. So if you have a small stain and looking to get rid of it, this can work. Just know that it will likely take the leather with it. Windex. This potentially can be harsh with several chemicals and colorants that could be added to it that might lead to damage to the fibers and isn't really necessary for a gentle, basic leather cleaner. So what does this all mean? Let's put it into a realistic context to help as you think through it. We all know someone who has their go-to product. Some love vinegar, and some love lemon juice. Others may have used baking soda for decades. And yes, in the near term, some of these might work great, and they may make the leather look and feel fresh and new. So if it's being applied to an item that's going to be used just for a few years, and its main purpose is function, then this might be a great option for some people. It could be a quick, easy solution, and the job is done. Even though it may look okay on the outside, it may be introducing long-term damage to the fibers. And even that might be totally okay or even preferred if it was a quick, easy solution for a situation that needed that. And for those that want to keep their leather items in top shape, inside and out, getting a quality, natural cleaner can make a huge difference. It will generally have the right amount of each ingredient, blended in just the right ways, and effectively penetrate into the leather, removing dirt and leaving it looking healthy and clean. So it's not an all or nothing approach. It's very context dependent on the need, your preference, and ultimately what you want to do for your leather and your situation. So there you have it. Until next time.